right, Adam Schenk, buddy, what's up? Congratulations, my man. Boiler up. What a way to finish the year. After 243 starts to finally come home with a V. How you doing, man? Happy holidays.
I'm well. Thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, incredible timing. I haven't started texting people back from my cell phone yet, and I'm starting today, getting a haircut today, cleaning up a lot of things in my life today. So that's going to be on the agenda. But yeah, you guys are the first ones.
Oh, sweet. Okay, let's go back. Let's go way back, right? Let's go back to like Purdue days growing up. Well, let's go back to growing up in Western Indiana. The conditions in Western Indiana, then going to Purdue and playing two great golf courses up there. Ryan and I were up there this year. It's absolutely fabulous. The steakhouse is to die for. It's absolutely just killer stuff. And then going through college and then playing golf down in our area, down in French Lick. And, the conditions in French Lick compared to Purdue the topography is totally different, right? You're flat as a pancake up in West Lafayette. Then you come down to our place and it's hilly, windy. Now you're in the Bahamas. And the wind is just going crazy, and you're hitting like a 5-iron 135 yards and coming up short. Tell us about the week.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. On Monday, the wind blew so hard, the golf course was not playable. They canceled the Pro-Am because I think a tent got blown loose, and it almost hit a couple of people playing the Pro-Am. No lie. And you could hit, some people talk about hitting into the wind. And, I could hit my lob wedge and almost catch it. Well, you could hit balls 50, 60 yards behind you if you hit like a high 80-yard shot. As high as you could hit a lob wedge, it would go clear behind you. There was one while we were putting on the putting green. It landed on the cart path behind the range and then bounced again and then landed on top of one of the shuttle buses that was giving us a ride to and from the course. So it was the windiest I've ever played in on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday the course was unplayable. We just went out to check it out and register and hit a few balls. And while we were on the putting green hitting a few putts on Monday in this said wind, when a big gust would come up, meaning 50 plus, it would blow every single ball that was on the putting chipping green. It would just blow it clean off, down the little slope that was there in front of the green. So interesting stuff. But yeah, like you said, French Lick is a great place. Obviously to be able to practice for a lot of reasons, but the wind up there is, I've only played the course. It was actually this fall. It was the first time I played it with hardly any wind, but every time you play at French Lick, it's always windy. It'll be, maybe a little bit of breeze at the bottom of the hill. You go up top of the die course and it's blowing 10 to 20. So, great to practice in some wind there, and you get all kinds of lies. So you have to be super creative. And I think that's what helped me, ultimately get it done in the end in Bermuda.
Did you play in the 14 Big Ten championship at the Lick?
Yes, I played 3 of them.
Yeah, we had 12, 13, 14.
Yep,
and
I played all those.
I think in 14 the wind was blowing like just absolutely insane up there. It was like the flagpole was bending, and that's what reminded me of when you were there like a couple of weeks back. I mean, the wind was just so intense. But congratulations, man! This is so cool. What was it like? I mean, all of a sudden you get it, and we saw the emotion on your face and just the wildness of the closure of doing it. But when you picked up the phone and called Courtney, what was that like?
Yeah, still sounds crazy to say, but it's still sinking in a little bit. I mean, it's just weird when you work for something your whole life and then you finally get it. Now it's like, well, kind of, what do I do now? You don't even know how to feel because you've just been pursuing it your entire career. But getting Tyler Duncan was there after I won, and he had called Courtney, so that was really special to get to talk to her immediately following. I wish they could have been there, but I always told Courtney if I do win, it's going to be out of the country and you guys won't be able to be there. But I'm like, babe, that's an awesome problem to have. I'm going to win, hopefully in the country at some point, because there's a lot of stuff that has to go into, her getting to run out on the green and, the kids jumping in your arms. Like, that's a pretty cool moment for a tour pro. But you kind of have to be in the last group and you have to make a putt to win. And I've had that once before at Charles Schwab and missed it. So I had the chance for it around the green and all that stuff, but hopefully we'll do it again next year. But yeah, the overall experience, just kind of a little bit of relief. I didn't know how I stood until 17 tee box, and I asked David Cook, my caddy, how do we stand? And said, "Do you want to know?" I said, "Yes." And I was like I joked to him, like, that's why I asked you, because I hadn't looked at a leaderboard hardly all day. And he said, "You're up by 2 shots." And it was kind of that moment I knew it was my tournament to lose, and if I did not win this golf tournament, like, are you ever going to win one? Because this is a gold golden star opportunity. And sure enough, missed a little putt on 17, hit a good putt, and then 18 had 4.5, 5 feet for par, and just very fortunate that that putt went in. And because if it was blowing so hard, if you had like the putting green kind of sits on a slope that's, let's call it all left to right, from the angle I'm talking about. So there'd be every putt on the section of the green would break left to right, but the wind was blowing so hard, all those left to right putts were breaking right to left. So putting was really interesting on the 4 or 5 holes where the greens were really exposed. So, lots of luck going into any week, on the PGA Tour. In a sense, the winner has some things go their way, but a fair amount of luck my way as well when it was that windy, just especially on that last putt, not having a big gust come up. Because if it would have a big gust would have come up, it might have broke a cup right to left, and it was a right edge putt. So fortunate that
Well,
one found the bottom.
well, talking about your putting that week, pretty unorthodox change in your putting grip, meaning you didn't really have a grip. You just had your putt with one arm. I mean, what goes through the process to say, look, I'm staying committed to this technique that I'm using this week, and sure shit, it won. So,
Gosh, that's a great question. Pretty weird stuff, right? But it's just as simple as I aim the putter a little better one-handed, and I don't pull putts. Like, I can putt for 30 minutes with one hand and think that I didn't really hit any pushes or pulls that really, really cost me to miss a putt. And then sure enough, I'll think I have it kind of figured out, and then I can put two hands back on the wheel. And I did this last night, actually. I was hitting some putts in my perfect putting mat, and came to the same conclusion again. I'm just better with my right hand only. So uh, did it at the Wyndham Championship the first time on Friday, and then hadn't done it in a long time. And just kind of the first putt I hit was on Thursday of Bermuda on hole 18, my ninth hole. I hit that putt. Was the first putt I hit one-handed from 20 feet or so. Almost made it. Next putt was on hole 1, my 10th hole. 17 feet on the back of the green. Made that one, and then made an 8-footer on the next hole, and then almost made the next one from 20 feet. Almost made the next one from 20 feet. So I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall at that point for me. If I can't see that I'm putting better one-handed, and I want to go back to two hands just because maybe I'm a little nervous, or everybody's going to kind of be whispering and talking about it. But at the end of the day, I just make more putts that way. And I'd like to think I could figure it out and not have to putt one-handed next year, but I'm also not scared to.
So what do you think is different functionally? I mean, I say this as a casual golfer who definitely makes all the no-look 8-footers I do with one hand, and then when it counts, you don't do it. So what did you notice that was different that makes one-handed work for you?
So it has to do with, like, long story short, Mike Hulbert was he's the director of golf maybe at Eastern ETSU, and he works for CBS. Played the tour for lots of years. I saw him at Minnesota 3M, and randomly comes up to me on the green. We start talking, and he starts talking about he putted for 2 years with one hand on the PGA Tour, and I think he said exclusively one year he never put his left hand on the putter, and he's just sitting there. Maybe he had 8 or 9 putts, and he made every single one of them, and the one or two that he missed lipped out, and started thinking, and I just tried it, and then tried it a little bit the following week, and it just seemed to work better. I release the putter so much better with my right hand. I release it, but I don't necessarily close the face, so it's just a lot more natural with my right hand. When I put my left hand on the putter, my left hand wants to drag the putter across the stroke, instead of like the right hand kind of releases. And if you think about like the butt end of the putter grip coming back into your belly button in a sense, when I do it with both hands, it kind of drags a little bit and maybe finishes on my left hip. But when I do it right-handed, if you stick a tee in the butt into your putter, and if you putt with just your right hand, the tee kind of points back at your belly button, and it just does it automatically. And I don't push or pull as many putts. It smooths out my stroke. Um, and I aim it a little bit better. I tend to aim right. Well, I don't tend to aim right. I aim right on almost. If I ever aim left on a putt, like it's going to be 100 degrees tomorrow. Like it's just not going to happen. So with my right hand, the putter sits a little more back, as you can picture, and helps me aim a touch further left. So still in the discovery process of all that, but it really it's nothing more than, hey, I make more putts when I do this. I'll figure out the rest later.
Going, look, that's totally wild, man. But it works. It's great.
It's crazy. I'm crazy. I told everybody, I'm like, I know I'm crazy. There's some people that know I'm crazy. Everybody else might as well know too.
Well, after 243 times of trying something different, this time worked.
That's right. No kidding.
That's great. So after, you're a PGA champ. Congratulations. You got a couple of years to plan your stuff out. I mean, how much of a weight is that off your chest? It's got to be just amazing.
It is. And, there's a weird part of me that I talked to my wife a little bit about this a couple weeks ago. I guess longer than that, maybe a month ago, let's call it. Going into the last 3-week stretch of the season, I was going to Mexico, Bermuda, and then Sea Island. But I was 130 on the FedEx Cup, 135. But I've played the PGA Tour for 8 years in a row, and I seriously want to continue to do so. But it was also kind of exciting to think about, maybe I was going to have to do something different next year. Maybe it was going to be half PGA Tour, half web. But like, I knew next year, if I didn't play well in those 3 weeks, it was going to be different. So like, I was potentially excited to just find out what was going to happen. And of course, I really wanted to play well. I would have loved to have had a win. I would have taken it then. I would have taken a third place, or I would have taken 110 on the FedEx Cup. So I was weirdly excited to see how well I could do if I, give it your all for 3 weeks. You've been practicing hard, and if it's something different next year, it's a different tour, then it's a new challenge. You have to get back to the PGA Tour, or you play great and then you stay on the PGA Tour. So I was weirdly looking forward to I'm just excited to see how I do the next 3 weeks, and I'll figure it out from there. And unfortunately, came away with the win, but I just found myself thinking about that. Like, okay, I know if I was, 90 on the FedEx Cup going into the last, couple tournaments, you've locked up your card, like, what's going to happen next year, where I had no idea how it was going to be. So I was weirdly excited, as I'm sure, a lot of other people, family members, my wife, how's Adam going to do in the last 3 weeks? Is he going to keep his card, this and that? So I was just excited to see what was going to happen and how all the cards were going to shake out. Fortunately, timing couldn't have been any better, obviously.
How does the win compare to getting to the Tour Championship? Those two are big achievements, right? I mean, how do those feel different or the same?
Yeah, it's pretty strange because I still had a pretty bad year at golf, and it's my first win. So I was in the interview in Bermuda, and they're like, you had two different streaks of 6 missed cuts, and I caught me for a second. I'm like, I know it was bad, but it still never felt like I played all that bad. But I mean, that's kind of hard to explain. That's kind of hard to say, oh, I'm playing good, just not having some things happen right now. Like, no, it was pretty bad and pretty dark at times, but get the win compared to the Tour Championship. Obviously, I played a lot more consistent golf getting to the Tour Championship, but I would say getting the Tour Championship. I want to say I don't think this is debatable, but obviously it's probably harder than to just have one win, possibly. But if the flip side of that, it also felt really, really good to get my first win and to be able to close it out after having so many close calls, because you only get so many chances. And that's kind of how I thought on 17, 2-shot lead. Like, man, if you don't get it done here, like, are you ever going to get it done? And then I had the 5-footer on the last hole and told myself, okay, it's so windy, just follow your routine, hit it in the middle of the face. Once again, I'm excited to see if this putt goes in. Nobody else knows either. I don't know if it's going to gust, what's going to happen. So go through your routine, hit it, and let's find out if you're going to win. And sure enough, it hit a good putt and it fell right in the bottom. But yeah, wildly different feelings, because the last 2 years have been pretty bare. and still disappointing. But to finish the year out like this, obviously extremely high note. But I'm excited to get back at it next year and to have a little more consistency and not be as feast or famine as I was this year, and it was mostly famine and a little bit of feast at the end.
You told us last time that we talked to you that you kind of felt good about where your game was, and that maybe you were trending in the direction you went to a win, and that was months ago when things weren't going as well. So what did you have in your brain or heart or both that convinced you that was the case, and did that kind of belief help you when the opportunity did present itself in Bermuda?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it had a lot to do with it. And like, in my opinion, like, confidence is a tricky thing. You just can't have it always. If you keep hitting, if every time you hit a shot in a left to right wind with the driver, and half the time you hit the ball and you can't find it. If you're stepping up over a tee shot with trouble left or right, and it's a big left to right wind, like, why would you have confidence over that shot? Because half the time that you hit it, you have no idea where this ball's going. Once again, you're as excited to see if it's going to miss right, left, just as excited as everybody else. So like, standing up over that, it's hard to just say like, oh, have confidence. But with putting in the work that I did, I saw the results and I saw the consistency and I saw it was there and I believed in it. So once you see something and you're able to repeat it in a somewhat repetitive nature, of course, there's always going to be ups and downs, throughout a golf season. But when I started to see more consistent results when I'm practicing in tournaments, and it always shows up last in tournaments, right? You figure it out on the range, you take it to the course, Monday games, practice rounds, then you have to figure it out, in the tournament. And then you have to, okay, you can take it a step further. I have to figure it out when I'm in contention. All right, I've got a chance to win. Okay, now it's blowing 500 miles an hour. So there's another variable that's thrown at you, which was probably a blessing and not really in disguise. It was an absolute blessing that it was that windy. 'Cause that's the reason I won. But it just comes from, I think it's as simple as being able to see consistent results, and you can predict the shot that you're going to hit. So if you don't know what's going to happen, when you pull the trigger, I mean, why would you have confidence? And fortunately, I was able to start to see some good results while in the last couple months, leading up to the fall series, and I think that seeing it in that belief definitely propelled me.
So, hey, man, hey, how about a shout out to your sponsors? I know you have a lot of local guys that have been with you for years. We're very proud to be on your sleeve, French Lake Resort. But who else you got up there? There it is. Show those pythons off, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I actually did get the blood test last week 2 weeks ago at RSM, whenever it was, for the HGH. So I promise you I will pass, but it's always kind of funny getting drug tests after you win. Front of my hat, big letters, XPT, commercial insurance.
XPT.
Kyle Stevens, Karan. They've been a partner of mine for, I believe, 2 years now. Pennzoil for 2 years. Obviously, French Lick. I believe this was year number 2. K-Swear. I believe that's for 2 as well. And then One Flight. They give us a phenomenal deal on access to some planes, which we're able to leave out of the old airport by Vincennes Lawrenceville International Airport. So it's old military airport, but it's 15 minutes from our house, and with the kids and being able to take the dog. Bunker's back here.
Hey, Bunker, what's up?
Hey.
That's who I've been petting when I've been reaching down there. And then United Rentals, carry their corporate bag, Local IQ. They've been a long-time partner, Brinker's Jewelers, which is basically my wife's sponsorship. So she reaps the rewards of that one. But great people.
I'm sure they're going to get a knock on their door coming up for Christmas.
Oh yeah. And FootJoy providing me. I wear FootJoy clothing, which is phenomenal. So a lot of partners, a lot of people, a lot of efforts went into this. But still can't believe it. It's still pretty crazy, but I'm glad I finally got it done.
Hey, dude, we're so proud of you, and we're so glad that we've had time to spend, together. I'll probably see you at Bay Hill And if you need a caddy for the Pro-Am, give your guy a day off, and I'll walk the course with you. How does that sound?
Perfect. He'll take you up on that.
New golf course at French Lick at the Ridgeview, and
I heard that.
I think we'll be getting some sod from your farm, which is you guys are very, very helpful to us when we built the die course, and over the years we've got a great partnership with you and your family. So Red Skelton was a very most famous guy coming from Vincennes, Indiana, but not anymore. We have the other famous guy, PGA champion, Ryan Schenk.
Unbelievable. Crazy to say out loud.
All right, bud. Well, hey, thanks a lot. Have a great holiday, man. Best to the family, and we will see you soon. I may see you up in Jacksonville too. You never know.
Perfect. Holler at me. I'm always available. Thank you guys for having me on.